In a world where chaos and existential emptiness seem to be constant companions, many of us seek refuge in behaviors that, at first glance, promise relief and comfort. These addictive behaviors, which can range from substance use to immersion in seemingly harmless activities like social media or gaming, often present themselves as a temporary escape from the pressures and uncertainties of daily life. However, what begins as an attempt to escape discomfort can quickly turn into a destructive cycle, where the relentless pursuit of relief becomes in itself a source of suffering. The central question we propose to explore is, what truly drives someone to incessantly seek something they know, deep down, to be harmful? For many, this pursuit is rooted in an attempt to fill an internal void, a gap left by past experiences, unresolved traumas, or a sense of disconnection with oneself and the world around. It's as if, in trying to escape external chaos, we find ourselves trapped in an internal labyrinth where each attempt to flee leads us back to the starting point. In this video, we will delve deeply into the nature of addiction, exploring how it manifests as an expression of emotional wounds and a search for meaning in a world that often seems devoid of it. We will examine the perspectives of thinkers like Carl Jung and Gabor Mate, who offer valuable insights into how addiction can be seen not only as an individual problem, but as a reflection of broader imbalances in the human psyche and society. We invite you to join us on this journey of self-discovery and healing as we seek to understand the forces that drive us and how we can ultimately find a path to freedom and resilience. The nature of addiction is, in many ways, a subtle dance between the search for relief and the trap of habit. Initially, addictive behaviors present themselves as temporary solutions to discomfort, offering a sense of control or pleasure amidst chaos. Imagine someone who, after a stressful day, turns to a glass of wine or a few hours immersed in an online game. At first, these actions seem harmless, even beneficial, providing a moment of escape and relaxation. However, what begins as an attempt to escape can quickly turn into a vicious cycle. The repetition of these behaviors, driven by the relentless pursuit of relief, starts to create patterns that become deeply rooted in daily routine. The temporary relief becomes increasingly fleeting, requiring larger or more frequent doses to achieve the same effect. Thus, what was once a solution transforms into a problem, a habit that consumes time, energy, and often the very essence of the individual. This destructive cycle is fueled by a complex interaction of psychological and biological factors. The mind, in its quest for balance, can become dependent on the chemicals released during these behaviors, such as dopamine, which reinforces the sensation of pleasure and reward. At the same time, the body adapts to these substances, demanding ever-increasing amounts to reach the same level of satisfaction. It is a self-perpetuating cycle, where the attempt to escape initial discomfort ends up creating a new kind of suffering, deeper and more insidious. The transformation of behaviors into destructive habits is a process that often goes unnoticed until its consequences become undeniable. The individual's life begins to revolve around the addiction, affecting relationships, work, and health. The external chaos that was sought to be avoided manifests internally, creating an even greater void. At this point, addiction ceases to be a conscious choice and becomes a compulsion, a need that seems impossible to ignore. Understanding this dynamic is crucial for any journey of self-discovery and healing. Recognizing that addiction is not simply a matter of lack of willpower, but rather a complex cycle of seeking and dependency, is the first step to breaking its chains. By exploring the nature of addiction, we can begin to unravel the patterns that imprison us and seek paths to true freedom and balance. The search for meaning is one of the most powerful forces driving human behavior. When this search encounters obstacles, such as deep emotional wounds or a sense of disconnection, addiction can emerge as an attempt to fill this existential void. For many, addictive behaviors are more than just destructive habits. They are expressions of an internal struggle to find purpose and balance in a world that often seems indifferent to our deepest needs. Carl Jung, one of the most influential thinkers in psychology, offers a valuable perspective on this dynamic. He suggests that addictions are manifestations of an imbalance in the psyche, an attempt to compensate for aspects of life that remain unfulfilled or ignored. According to Jung, the human psyche is a totality composed of conscious and unconscious elements, and addiction can be seen as a sign that something is out of harmony. When significant parts of our identity or experiences are repressed or not integrated, addiction can arise as a way to deal with this internal dissonance. In this context, addictions are not just behaviors to be eliminated, but symptoms of deeper issues that need to be addressed. They can be seen as a cry for help from the soul, an attempt to find meaning amidst chaos and pain. The search for meaning, then, becomes a journey of self-discovery, where the individual is called to confront their wounds, understand their origins, and work to integrate all aspects of their psyche. This perspective invites us to look at addiction with compassion and understanding, recognizing that it is, in many cases, a response to unresolved suffering. Instead of simply condemning or trying to suppress these behaviors, it is essential to explore the stories and experiences that fuel them. By doing so, we can begin to unravel the true meaning we seek and find healthier and more sustainable ways to satisfy this need. The journey to overcome addiction, therefore, is not just a matter of willpower or discipline, but a profound process of healing and integration. It is an invitation to explore the depths of our psyche, confront our fears and insecurities, and ultimately find a path to inner peace and balance. By understanding addiction as a search for meaning, we can transform this struggle into an opportunity for personal growth and transformation. Carl Jung, one of the pioneers of analytical psychology, offers a profound insight into the nature of addiction that goes beyond the surface of observable behaviors. For Jung, addiction is, in essence, an escape from psychological suffering, an attempt to avoid facing the most painful and dark parts of our existence. He views addiction as a reflection of an imbalance in the psyche, where important aspects of our identity and experiences are repressed or ignored. The psyche, according to Jung, is a totality that encompasses both the conscious and unconscious aspects of our mind. It is a complex system where each part plays a crucial role in shaping our identity and the way we interact with the world. When there is an imbalance, when significant parts of our psyche are neglected or suppressed, psychological suffering can emerge. Addiction then manifests as an attempt to fill this void, to find relief from the pain we cannot face directly. Jung suggests that to truly understand addiction, we must look beyond the behaviors themselves and explore the unconscious forces that drive them. He invites us to consider addiction as a symptom of a psyche in imbalance, where the escape from suffering becomes a survival strategy. This perspective challenges us to see addiction not just as a problem to be solved, but as an opportunity to explore and integrate the repressed aspects of our psyche. Jung's approach emphasizes the importance of individuation, the process of integrating all aspects of our psyche into a cohesive whole. He believes that by confronting and integrating our shadows, the parts of ourselves we prefer to ignore or reject, we can achieve a state of internal balance and harmony. This process of self-discovery and healing is essential to overcoming addiction, as it allows us to face psychological suffering in a healthy and constructive way. Gabor Mate, a renowned physician and author, offers a deeply empathetic and insightful perspective on addiction that complements and expands on Carl Jung's ideas. For Mate, addiction is fundamentally an attempt to alleviate emotional suffering, a response to pains and traumas that often date back to childhood. He argues that instead of being seen as a moral failing or a conscious choice, addiction should be understood as a survival strategy, a way to cope with emotional wounds that remain unresolved. In his book, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, Mate explores the idea that addiction is fueled by false needs and a continuous dissatisfaction. He describes how, in our quest for relief, we often cling to substances or behaviors that promise to fill an internal void, but in reality only perpetuate a cycle of craving and frustration. These hungry ghosts are metaphors for unmet emotional needs that haunt us, leading us to incessantly seek something that never seems to be enough. Mate highlights that addiction is often rooted in experiences of trauma and disconnection, where the individual, unable to find comfort and security in their relationships and environment, turns to substitutes that offer an illusion of relief. He emphasizes that for many, addiction is an attempt to escape unbearable emotional pain, a way to anesthetize feelings of shame, fear, or loneliness. However, this search for relief is illusory, as the temporary solutions that addiction offers fail to address the underlying causes of suffering. The complexity of addiction manifests in various forms, encompassing both substance use and behaviors that at first glance may seem harmless. This diversity reflects the multifaceted nature of addiction, which can take root in any aspect of life where temporary relief from suffering is sought. By exploring the types of addictions and their causes, we can begin to understand how these different manifestations are interconnected and how they reflect a common search for meaning and relief. Substance addictions, such as alcohol, drugs, and nicotine, are perhaps the most recognized and studied. They involve the ingestion of chemicals that alter mental and physical states, providing a sense of pleasure or relief that can quickly become addictive. However, behavioral addictions, such as excessive use of social media, video gaming, compulsive shopping, or even work, are equally prevalent and can be as destructive as substance addictions. These behaviors, although not involving the ingestion of external substances, activate the same reward circuits in the brain, creating a cycle of dependency that is difficult to break. The distinction between substance and behavioral addictions leads us to consider the underlying causes that fuel them. Here, the interaction between the subject and the object of addiction is crucial. Addiction does not arise in a vacuum. It is the result of a complex interaction between internal and external factors. Internally, unresolved traumas, low self-esteem, and a sense of emptiness can predispose an individual to seek relief in substances or behaviors. Externally, dysfunctional family environments, social pressure, and experiences of rejection or abandonment can create fertile ground for the development of addiction. Childhood traumas in particular play a significant role in forming addictive patterns. Adverse childhood experiences such as abuse, neglect, or the lack of a safe and loving environment can leave deep emotional scars that persist into adulthood. These traumas can lead to an incessant search for comfort and security, often found in substances or behaviors that offer a temporary escape from pain. Additionally, dysfunctional family environments, where emotional support is scarce or non-existent, can reinforce feelings of isolation and despair, pushing the individual further into the cycle of addiction. Overcoming addiction is a complex and deeply personal journey that requires more than just willpower or determination. It is a process that involves awareness, reflection, and social support, essential elements for healing and transformation. When exploring how we can overcome addiction, it is important to consider both the internal and external dimensions of this journey, recognizing that true recovery is a process of self-discovery and reintegration. Awareness and reflection are fundamental steps on this path. For many, addiction operates in the shadows of the mind, driven by unconscious patterns and ingrained habits. Bringing these behaviors to the light of consciousness is the first step in breaking the vicious cycle. This involves honest reflection on one's behaviors, motivations, and the emotional wounds that may be at the root of the addiction. By developing a deeper understanding of oneself, the individual can begin to identify the triggers and unmet needs that fuel the addiction. In this context, Carl Jung's process of individuation offers a valuable framework for healing. Jung describes individuation as the integration of the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche, a process that leads to the realization of the true self. By confronting and integrating the repressed or ignored parts of our identity, we can achieve a state of internal balance and harmony. This process not only helps alleviate the psychological suffering often at the root of addiction, but also fosters a sense of wholeness and purpose that can replace the relentless search for relief. Beyond internal reflection, social support plays a crucial role in overcoming addiction. Healthy social relationships and support groups provide a safe space where individuals can share their experiences, receive encouragement, and find solidarity. Connection with others is a fundamental human need, and the lack of it can exacerbate feelings of isolation and despair that fuel addiction. By cultivating meaningful relationships, individuals can find the emotional support needed to face the challenges of recovery. Social reintegration is a vital part of this healing process. Engaging with the community and rebuilding social ties helps restore a sense of belonging and purpose. This can involve participating in support groups, community activities, or simply strengthening personal relationships. Social reintegration not only offers practical and emotional support, but also helps redefine the individual's identity beyond addiction, promoting a sense of value and contribution. Ultimately, overcoming addiction is a journey of transformation that requires both internal exploration and external support. By integrating awareness, reflection, and social support, we can create a path to true recovery, where addiction is not only overcome, but transformed into an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. This holistic approach allows us to not only address the symptoms of addiction, but also tackle its underlying causes, promoting lasting and meaningful healing. As we approach the end of this exploration of addiction, it is essential to focus on hope and the inherent capacity for healing and resilience that we all possess. Addiction, while challenging and often devastating, is not a perpetual sentence. Modern neuroscience offers an encouraging insight. The human brain has a remarkable capacity to restructure itself, a phenomenon known as neuroplasticity. This means that even after years of addictive patterns, it is possible to create new neural connections that support healthy behaviors and conscious choices. The journey to overcoming addiction is, in many ways, a journey of internal transformation. Nodal awareness, a state of heightened and centered perception, allows individuals to observe their thoughts and behaviors without judgment, promoting equanimity, an emotional balance that is not easily disturbed by life's storms. By cultivating this awareness, we can develop the resilience needed to face the challenges of addiction, transforming the struggle into an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. At the heart of this transformation is the understanding that addiction is ultimately a shared spiritual problem. It reflects a universal search for meaning, connection, and relief from suffering. By recognizing addiction as an issue that transcends the individual, we can approach recovery with compassion and solidarity, creating support communities that nurture healing and reintegration. The final message we wish to convey is one of hope and possibility. As Gabor Mate wisely states, "No human being is ever beyond redemption." This quote encapsulates the belief that, regardless of the depth of addiction or how long it has persisted, there is always a path back to health and balance. Redemption is not just about overcoming addiction, but about finding a new sense of purpose and connection that enriches life in ways that once seemed impossible. As we conclude this journey of exploration, we invite you to reflect on the stories and insights shared and consider how they might inform and inspire your own journey or that of someone you know. Addiction, while challenging, is also an opportunity for transformation, a chance to rebuild life on a foundation of self-understanding, compassion, and hope. Together, we can create a world where healing and resilience are possible for everyone, where each individual is seen and valued for their capacity to grow and change.